Hey y'all, so today we are going to get to the bottom of what a recessive gene is, especially when it comes to animals and in particular ball pythons. There are some really cool examples of some of my favorite snakes that I'm going to show you. These certain morphs are all recessive genes. So I'm going to explain what a recessive gene is, what a recessive allele is, and how to make them, how to breed them, everything. So stay tuned and let's hop on over to my laptop so we can get started. So, to first understand what recessive means, I googled it. The definition is here: characteristics controlled by genes that are expressed in offspring only when inherited from both parents. That's important right here, this both parents part. So, let me give you an example. This is what a normal ball python looks like, okay? So, its dominant trait is just the wild type normal. This is what an albino looks like. Albinism takes out most of the color in animals, and oftentimes you see red eyes, and that's what you have here. There's no black or brown. It's all high yellow, white, red eyes. Pretty big difference, and obviously albinos are going to sell more. But if you breed this normal with this albino, let's say she's a female, with the male normal, then we will have all of the offspring coming out looking normal. Why is that? Well, you have to have both parents, remember over here, both parents have to carry the albino gene. So this, let's say she's a female, this female is going to pass down one allele of albinism to the offspring, and the normal isn't going to be able to produce any allele into the offspring, so you still are only left with one allele. So they come out normal, but some of them will be heterozygous, meaning it only carries one allele for albino. You'll see that often sold as het albino. And that means that if you have a het albino snake and then you breed it with another het albino snake, then you have the possibility for two alleles to come together because you have one from each parent, and that's when you get this right here, this albino snake. So then what happens if you take a het albino and breed it with an albino? Well, I'll show you. So let's say the male is het albino, female is albino. Now, this one, the female, can pass down one albino gene. This one has the possibility, 50% chance of producing one albino gene. And then you have, or I guess not gene, but allele. Half will come out het albino, half will come out albino, which is pretty good odds, right? So even if they look normal, but they still carry the het albino gene, or the allele, you can breed it within all albino snake and get pretty good odds. If it has 8 eggs, 4 of them are going to come out albino, theoretically, right? So then to show you, if I have a het albino bred to a het albino, so now this can pass down one allele, this can pass down one allele for albinism, you get 1/4 are going to be normal, or what's called wild type. Half are going to come out looking normal, but they'll carry the albino gene, so they'll be heterozygous for albino. And then 1/4, 1 out of 4 snakes should be albino. So pretty good odds there. And then I'll just show you this, going back to it to kind of wrap everything up. If I leave it blank, it should just calculate it as normal. Male het albino, so normal, but it's carrying the albino gene with a normal female, as you can see here. Half will come out normal, half will come out normal with het for albino. Now, this kind of sucks. You can't, for albino, visually see which ones are going to be heterozygous for albino and which ones are completely normal until you grow them up and breed them. So that's why you will see people selling them as 50% chance het albino. People will give you all sorts of percentages. You really don't know unless you breed them up, raise them up and then breed them. Just be careful what you're buying because some people will kind of scam you. So now that you understand that, that's the normal versus the albino. It's pretty cool. These guys will go for quite a bit more on the market, or if you go to reptile shows, everybody kind of likes these guys. Let me show you another example of a really cool recessive gened ball python. So now let me show you an example of another recessive gened morph, and that is going to be the piebald ball python, or the pied ball python for short, as a lot of people will call it. And this one's cool because in some, most, or a majority of its body is going to lack color and pattern altogether, and then some parts of the original color and pattern will show through. So this one is really cool. You have some white coming up all over the place, and then you have multiple spots where the normal color is coming through. Usually on the market, the more white these snakes are, the more money they will sell for, basically. Another example is this guy. He has all white pretty much everywhere except his head. Those are pretty cool, but they sell for hundreds of dollars more than this last one, usually. And sometimes you'll get these guys and see them to where the only white they have on their body is going to be like a little tiny spot right here, and everything else is going to be like the normal pattern. It's pretty cool. But this is a recessive gene as well, meaning that if you breed this pied with a normal ball python over here, they will all come out, all the babies will come out looking normal like him. But you will know that half of them will come out heterozygous, carrying the gene for this type of morph called the pied. You have better odds producing an actual pied if you breed two pieds together. I'll show you. I'll show you here. If you breed two pieds, all the babies will become out pied. Now, the next cool thing about recessive genes, recessive morphs, is that you can kind of mix and match them, put them together how you want when you're breeding these animals. So an example of this is what people would call a double recessive or a two-gened recessive ball python morph would be an albino pied. So what happens if I breed a really cool piebald ball python like this guy with an albino? Well, unfortunately, all of them are going to come out normal, and some are going to have a het for one or the other. But let's say you have a piebald that is already heterozygous, meaning it's carrying one allele for albino. So piebald, het for albino, bred with an albino. Well, some of them are going to come out looking like this guy. He's still going to have the red eyes because he's albino, but he's going to have that typical pied look to him where he's got all white, but where there would normally be normal color, it's now the albino yellow color. These are really cool animals. These are really expensive animals in the market. If you see an adult one of these, especially an adult female, a lot of times they'll be selling for over $1,000. If you can produce these, good for you. It just takes a lot of patience and a lot of money. Another one that is pretty popular is what's called the clown ball python. These are called clown because on the top of their head, it's said that the pattern kind of makes a clown face. I can't see it. Maybe I'm just dumb, but I can't see it. But it kind of takes off a lot of the patterning from the side. The color is more of a yellow color, and then it has this very, very dark pattern on the top. It's not really like a pinstripe. Sometimes it's broken up, and sometimes it's all together. It's kind of random, but it just kind of creates an interesting patterned animal. What a lot of people do is they will breed these clowns, which is a recessive gene, in with other morphs to create an even better morph. I personally am not into the regular clowns, but I really like it when they're bred with other things to make them look even better. So this would be pretty cool. I can take a clown ball python, which is recessive, breed it to something else that's maybe heterozygous for clown, like let's say a banana that's het for clown, and then you can come out with something like this, which is a clown banana or banana clown. That's just crazy because you get the banana colors, which is the yellow and the lack of the black, right? It's kind of like purpley gray instead. And then you get that cool clown head where it kind of lacks the color up here. And then you get the cool patterning down its back and on the sides. So this is kind of off topic, but let me show you what a normal banana looks like. It's going to be this guy. So pattern looks relatively the same as normal, but the coloring is definitely not. You have the purple, the gray, the yellow, the orange. So if you mix that with the clown, and keep in mind, in order to have visual clowns that come out with banana as well, this guy here has to be het for clown. And then they come out looking like this. It's a pretty cool mix and match kind of situation. I just noticed something though, and since we just learned about it, we can talk about it. So this one is banana, and it is possible heterozygous for pied, meaning that he might be carrying the gene to produce pieds. And that would be cool, because if you bred him to the right morphs, you could come out with a banana pied ball python. That's pretty sweet. But it's only possible, and we don't know for sure. So you wouldn't want to buy him hoping that maybe he's het for pied. You would just want to buy him knowing that he's definitely banana, as you can tell, and you can breed him with your other bananas, or just keep him as a really cool pet. But a lot of people get suckered into this possible thing. Sometimes it's just a gimmick for breeders to kind of get more money off you, and sometimes it really is just a random dice roll. But I just figured I'd point it out since we just talked about it. I actually have a banana ball python, and I'll show you him right now. You looking at yourself in the camera? Crazy little guy. Alright, so since we're talking about banana ball pythons and clowns, I thought that I would bring this guy out to show you guys. He's banana ball python, which is an independent dominant morph, which we will talk about more in the next video because this is a good segue, and I'll explain the banana gene a lot more and how it reproduces. But he's banana, which is independent dominant, and he is also a clown ball python. You just can't tell because he doesn't show it. He just has the regular banana markings. So what does that mean? What did we just learn about? He only carries one of the allele. So he is het or heterozygous for clown. So he's banana, but he can also produce clown and banana clown ball pythons if I choose to breed him, which is pretty cool. So here's a good example of heterozygous for something, and you can't see it. There's no clown in him at all. But really cool brown, yellow, and orange banana markings. I just think he's amazing. And he's a sweetheart, and he's always active when I take him out. Gotta love it. Bananas are one of my favorite genes. So we'll talk about them more in the next video, and I'll explain independent and or co-dominant traits. Until then, I'll see you guys on the next one.